Hi, and welcome to this theme video for Get-AWAY RAFT, which is the audio short story that I shared last week on this channel. Today, I want to talk about two themes or two thoughts. One, where did the story come from? And two, what is apology all about? How do we apologize? Why do we need to apologize? And how do children respond when we apologize? The reason that's part of the theme is that in the story, Tyler's dad did not apologize, which created the anger in Tyler and caused him to run away. I have some personal experiences on that I'll share in a minute. But first, where did the story come from? In writing world, we're supposed to write what we know, and in fact, I did grow up in wide open farm country right next to a wonderful creek. My older sister and brother both built rafts. They actually had a raft contest. I was talking to my brother a few weeks ago on the phone, and he said his raft was the best looking raft. That may have been the case, but when they put his raft in the water, it sank without anybody on top of it. My sister's raft, however, held 3 kids and a dog, and we used that raft all summer long on the creek and had so much fun with it. So that's where the story came from, my own experience growing up next to a creek. Okay, let's talk about the concept of apologizing. Why, how, and the importance of it, especially with children. I'll start with my own story from when I was teaching. Right out of college, I taught 3rd grade, and one day the kids in the class did something. I don't remember what it was. I just remember that what they did was either dishonoring or dishonest, and I got angry. And I made them put their heads down on their desks for the whole recess, so they didn't get to go out for recess. And during those 15 minutes, God began to talk to me and say, you know, what the class did was wrong, but Janet, what you did, your angry response, was equally as wrong. So I knew I needed to apologize. When the discipline time was over, when recess was over, and they raised their heads, I said to them, what you did was wrong, but what I did in responding with anger was also wrong, and I want to apologize and ask your forgiveness. Will you please forgive me? Before I apologized, in the room, you could feel this tension of anger from the children. They were upset at me, and I knew it. After the apology, it was like a collective sigh released all that tension, and they forgave quickly. And they forgave completely. We were able to go on with the rest of our day and all of the rest of our subjects in peace, and the atmosphere in the room shifted completely into that place of restored relationship. I want to just talk a little bit about children and the need to apologize and why it's so important. Children cannot reason. The ability to reason only begins around age 12, and it's only fully developed in the early 20s. So before that, when they hear dad telling mom, I'm having a tough time at work and it's not going well, they don't tie that together with, oh, dad's being angry at me, and that's why. It's because he's having a tough time at work. Children who can't reason are not able to take thoughts and ideas and pull them together. A child who can't reason looks at an adult who has done something wrong, and the way that they process it is, I've done something wrong. I'm bad. It's my fault. Because their world is all about their own situation, and they cannot understand that the big person who's supposed to love them and take care of them has messed up. A child almost always assumes they are to blame. That's why it's so important for us to apologize to children and help them understand you didn't do anything wrong. It was my fault. And to let them know they are not to blame. What that does, when we do that for children, it enables them to stay in a place of believing I'm safe, I'm lovable, I'm loved, and they are kept secure in their heart. How do we apologize? First of all, when we apologize, we always include, will you forgive me? More on that in a minute, but I want to just talk about initiating and choosing to humble ourselves. Over the years of our marriage, my husband and I have had lots of disagreements. Not so much anymore, but earlier on, we would disagree and I would get angry, and I would know that my husband was angry also. And I would feel like, well, he needs to apologize to me and then I'll apologize to him. But someone needs to initiate the apology. When we do that, we never blame, we never accuse, and we never judge. We don't say things like, well, I'm sorry, but you messed up too. Or, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? But you need to apologize too. We own our part and don't add those extra things on. We allow God to work in their heart to apologize. And when we say, will you forgive me, with sincerity, and they respond with, yes, I forgive you, what happens is their words will lead their heart toward forgiveness. The Bible says our words have the power of life and death. So when they express, yes, I forgive you, then their hearts can follow their words. That's one reason that we can initiate and watch reconciliation happen quickly. So when we ask forgiveness, we do need to include, will you forgive me? It's really important to give them the opportunity to express forgiveness. And it also enables us to be the reconciler in the relationship. A few more words about people who may not be used to apologizing or having someone ask them for forgiveness. If we're relating to a coworker or to someone who doesn't know God and didn't grow up with that kind of forgiveness in the house, it may be new to them. So we just do our part in asking forgiveness. And if they don't respond, we don't demand it of them. We just release them in our hearts through forgiveness, ask forgiveness. And if they don't express it, we trust that God will work it out relationally. It will go a long way to helping people recognize that you are intending to maintain heart connection with them. And last, one comment about people who are unsafe to us. For example, someone who doesn't know how to respect your personal boundaries, and they push those boundaries and cross those boundaries, or someone who is sarcastic or insulting to you, they may not feel like a safe person. If we apologize to them, it does not mean that we need to allow full trust in that relationship to be operative. Trust in a relationship is earned through safe interactions and honoring choices. So if we apologize to someone who's not necessarily completely safe, we can do so by asking forgiveness sincerely, but that doesn't mean that that full trust relationship has to be restored. That's everything I wanted to share. I hope it was fun and interesting and helpful. I'll see you next week when I share the audio short story Curmudgeon. And until then, I hope you have a great week.